What's up, guys? You're watching To All the Crowded Rooms. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Jesse. Welcome back.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. You get the alert as soon as the episode's posted. Today, we have Jamie Hanks of the band I Declare War. What's going on, dude?
Hey, how you doing?
So, man, I gotta ask, any relation to Tom Hanks?
No. I wish I could say yes, but I think that actually, technically, somewhere along the line, like as far as my family goes, I got thrown into the Hanks side of the family, when in reality I'm like a different part of the family, but I just took the last name somewhere along the line. It was before my time, so I didn't really have any say in it, but it's pretty cool every time somebody asks. So sometimes I'll say, yeah, he's my great uncle or something like that, but no.
Yeah, highly believable. I think that's why everyone asks people, is because they're waiting for that 1 in a million lottery chance that it is, and it's just like, oh my god, no way.
Plus, he's got relation to like Abraham Lincoln and stuff like that too.
What?
So
does he really?
Cool. Yeah.
Well, there's all the fucking conspiracy theories around the Hank. I don't know if you've seen it, but people saying like he's arrested and the whole pedophile rings and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my god, yo, it's insane.
Yo, I go into some deep rabbit holes looking into that stuff.
It would be a great comic series. Like, just honest to God, it would be amazing just unraveling all of the conspiracy theories and depict them. I should do it. I should do it.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask you, dude, what did you grow up listening to? Because I Declare War, like, between the lyrics, the merch line, stuff like that, like, I gotta know, like, what did you grow up listening to?
Well, I mean, I grew up listening to a little bit of everything. Coming from the Pacific Northwest, I grew up on grunge for the most part. And then, pretty early on got into, I guess you'd call it like heavy metal or new metal and stuff like that. Like I was introduced to Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson and stuff like that at a pretty young age, and kind of just slowly started making my way up a little bit more extreme. And by the time I was 13 or 14, I was listening to bands like 18 Visions and Poison the Well and stuff like that, and all along the way still listening to like Cannibal Corpse. I got into them when I was like really young, like I guess 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Probably not young now, but like I grew up pre MySpace and pre streaming sites and stuff like that, so 10 or 11 years old, if you're digging around for that stuff yourself, it's kind of hard to find.
Right.
So, yeah.
So how'd you learn how to scream? Who were you like trying to like imitate when you were younger to try to get to on their level?
Well, I mean, I guess I started screaming probably when I was, my first band, I was probably 13 or 14, and at the time I was really into, I really liked like Poison the Well and Norma Jean and a lot of those early Solid State Records bands. I really like Zale a lot.
Nice.
Oh yeah, like the OG metalcore stuff.
Yeah, OG metalcore stuff, like Bleeding Through, stuff like that. I kind of started to hone my sound and the way I wanted to sound for the rest of my life once I was introduced to Brandon Chipetti. I always really appreciated Corpse Grinder, the singer of Cannibal Corpse. I've always been a huge fan of power and power vocalists. I don't really understand the difference between like Fry and the other one, but I know that one of them is like, it's typically considered to be like more of like a quiet growl sort of thing, and I've never really been interested in any of that stuff. I like power guys, so you got guys like Nate Johnson, Corpse Grinder, Brandon Chipetti, dudes that really have like balls, they're really like belted out, and I always found those guys to be like my big influences.
And that's one thing I can definitely say about your vocals. They're very, very powerful. Like, they definitely are a highlight, I would say, in your music, that they're very upfront and they're very in your face, and that's something that I loved about I Declare War when I was in like shit high school. I remember, I think it was I Declare War, like the self-titled, that I was in high school, and my local band was like, yo, did you fucking hear this song? Fuck it, The Dot. It's insane. And I'm just like, oh, this is sick. But I always loved your vocals. I have a question. Have you ever like blown out your vocals, being like more of a power person?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, of course I have, but I really take a lot of pride in the fact that I do a lot in order to not blow my voice out. I use a vocal warm-up every time I'm going to do anything, whether it be practice or playing a show or recording or anything like that. It's the Zen of Screaming.
Hell yeah. Shout out Melissa Cross.
Melissa Cross. Her vocal warm-up is about, I would say it's probably the most important thing to ever happen to me as a vocalist. Mm-hmm. That vocal warm-up not only helped me project significantly better, but it also helps longevity for me, which is, I mean, I guess at this point is pretty important considering I've been a touring musician for 15 years almost.
Ooh. Have you ever worked with Melissa Cross herself? Have you worked with her, or have you just gotten like the instructionals and DVDs and shit?
Yeah, I wish I could say that I have, but I've never had the opportunity to. I probably made that woman thousands of dollars over the year just through recommendations.
Nice.
But
she's a Long Island based. So,
is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that. That's near us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's great.
Oh, wow.
Yo, I have to ask though, because this has been a conversation in the house because we've been listening to a bunch of heavy music. I think it was the Punk Rock MBA that was talking about there was a period in time where people would really diss on people that do inhales. What's your opinion on that?
That's a great question.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I know some guys do it really well, and I'm probably not gonna. I don't know. I'm not gonna listen to a lot of it probably because I have an ear for that sort of stuff. Mm. It immediately kind of like hits me, but who knows, man? I mean, you know, you find guys every once in a while that do it really well. There's this band called. I think they're called, oh man, it's like one of those slam death metal names. They're called like Extreme Disembodiment or something like that. That guy clearly does inhales, and they're really nasty, you know. It just kind of depends on if you do them really well or not. I guess it really all boils down to, but I don't really find a whole lot of people do them very well.
I kind of personally, like, I've been thinking about this because, like I said, it's been a conversation piece in the house. I find that a lot of it's inaudible. Like, you can't project good, and you don't have control over, like, how the words come out, so it just comes out like a sound. Where, like, I remember growing up and everyone's like, how can you understand all the screaming? And I'm like, oh, when you listen to it all the time, you know who can actually pronunciate these words and you can understand it. Inhales, I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck he just said.
Yeah. I mean, you got like some guys are like so audible. That's really important to me, is just being super audible. That's why I've always really appreciated, you know, Nate Johnson and Brendan Chapetti and those guys like that, and Joe Bad, singer of the new singer for Fit for an Autopsy.
Yo,
guy that's very
so
audible. Yeah, but when I hear the inhale stuff, you ever watch South Park?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know the Took Her Jobs, you know, the chicken sandwich episode? Like the episode where like all the aliens came down and they spoke inhale. You remember that episode?
Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. I'll show you. It's on. I think it's on HBO Max.
Was that with Baby Fark McGeezak? Was that with Baby Fark McGeezak? No.
I don't know if I remember that one, but
all right.
That's basically what I hear is like that sound.
Yeah.
So if you know, you know, I guess.
Yeah, I'll show you later because I've never thought of it that way. He's pretty spot on.
As someone that doesn't listen to as much deathcore and trying to understand like the whole like the roasting on people that inhale, when I went back and listened to like Amidst the Bloodshed, which you weren't on, it was Jon Huber on it. It sounded like he was doing a lot of inhales, like when he does those screams that like sound like really long burps. I was just like, is he inhaling and then trying to imitate it? I'm just like, how can you do this without inhaling? It's insane.
I'm pretty confident he's inhaling, but to be totally honest, I don't know. Sometimes you can't totally tell, and I know this is ridiculous, but I haven't really focused a ton on that record over the years, just because, you know, when I joined the band, it was one of those things where it was like, learn the songs that we're going to play, and then don't worry about anything else. Learn the songs that we were going to play, and then from there, I just kind of like, I didn't really pay a ton of attention to the rest of that record specifically.
Gotcha.
Understandable.
Not saying it's a bad record. I actually, you know, it's a good record for the time and everything. It just,
fuck yeah.
When I was like basically told, hey, you got 2 weeks to learn 8 songs and 4 of them are off this record. Just my sole focus was those 4 songs and then the 4 songs off the other record.
Gotcha. Yeah. To go back before we get into the I Declare War stuff, I wanted to talk about Those Who Lie Beneath, but first I wanted to ask, was there any other bands before Those Who Lie Beneath?
So I was, not really. I mean, it was just like a bunch of like local bands. My first like legit like touring act signed to record label was Those Who Lie Beneath, and it happened I was still pretty young, so I didn't really have a ton of time to do many other local bands. I was in like bands with my buddies where we did like summer shows and stuff like that, but it wasn't I never toured on it. We never really got a name for ourselves.
Oh, gotcha. How'd you guys form?
Those Who Lie Beneath?
Yeah.
So I was.
Excuse me.
It's funny. I was in a band, a local band that at the time we were called Stick to Your Guns. I think we were pre Stick to Your Guns.
Okay, cool.
But, we became like kind of buddy band with this band called Two Fall Victim, which later on formed into Those Who Lie Beneath, and they lost their singer, and my band at the time was breaking up, and I really enjoyed the band. It was significantly more technical than anything else that I had ever been a part of, and I really, really wanted to push that. I have always really enjoyed more of the technical side to death metal than anything else. You don't
play guitar, right? Just strictly vocals?
No, I definitely don't. I like to say that I play bass and I play drums, but I not even well enough to like sit in front of a band or anything like that and play.
So as a vocalist, you need to find members that are, they're good at what they do and they play the style of music that you're into, basically.
Yeah. And luckily enough, that band was in Portland and they were looking for a singer. And it's a small scene. At the time, it was a small scene, and I imagine it's probably even smaller now, considering there's essentially no all ages venues left in Portland. It's all
bummer
bar shows and stuff now. But we were all close, and I got asked to try out, and it worked out. And we did some like little mini tour stuff. And then we were also close with a band in Portland called American Me.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I've heard of that.
I grew up with Tony specifically. He was a pretty good friend of mine at the time. Still is. but he really pushed us pretty hard to the owner of Rise Records at the time, Craig Erickson.
Oh, sick.
He came out and saw us one night, and we all ended up getting drunk, and he basically asked us to sign on the spot. And we almost did, but we ended up going to like a lawyer and just having him check through all the stuff and make sure that everything was legit, and we weren't getting burned on anything.
He was trying to get you drunk and sign a contract. It's like, I'm gonna take advantage of these kids.
Yeah,
but it was straight.
It all worked out. Cool. And we did some touring, and I really wish that that band wouldn't have disbanded the way that it did, because I would still love to have that as like a secondary project or something like that. But all the members in the bands have went off to join different awesome bands. I'm in a band with one of the guitar players called Sacrificer.
Nice.
And the other guitar player, the bass player, and the drummer, they joined a band, or they formed as a three-piece a band called Vitriol. Which,
nice.
If you're not familiar with them and you're into technical death metal, they're fucking awesome.
Sacrificer's a three-piece too, though, right?
We are, yeah. We kind of did it on purpose that way. We work really well together as just the three of us. There's not a whole lot of like bickering or anything like that. And in the past we tried to have a secondary bass player or a guitar player, and there was always just like butting of heads on styles and music and stuff like that. So we just decided we're just going to backtrack bass and backtrack second guitar, and we'll just do it as a three-piece and hope that people don't bitch about it and say that it's not real because we're backtracking stuff. But that seems like it's the world that we're in now, where people just backtrack things. And
dude, my band, our bassist, he had like, his wife they had kids like multiple times when we were like trying to tour, and so he was a dad, you know what I mean? So we had to backtrack all of our bass parts, and we went on several tours without a bass player.
Yeah. So I Declare War actually doesn't have a bass player either. We have backtracked. We've backtracked our bass for like 3 years now, and a major reason behind it is just because financially it's so much better to not have that fifth guy that you have to pay out, and you have to pay a per diem to, and all that stuff. And then also there's one less guy in our 15 passenger van that we're typically touring in. So it's just overall, I hate to say it, bass players, but
you're the first to get backtracked.
Yeah.
You were the first to go.
Damn. Yeah. Automating the fucking band members.
Yeah, sorry, bass.
They took her germs.
Yeah, right.
Let's take it back for a second, though. So in Portland, around the time when those who lie beneath were playing around, is it true that around this time the scene was dominated by like indie rock bands, and that being a deathcore band, it was hard to get shows?
No, I mean, we had a pretty good community, because there at the time there was quite a few like kind of dumpy little ran by young adult, even teenage kids venues around town. So there was it was a small but pretty decent scene of people. And while there was a ton of indie rock bands around Portland, there was also a pretty, thriving hardcore and, melodic hardcore and deathcore and metalcore community that kind of all played together a lot of the time. Like I grew up playing shows with like hardcore bands, basically anybody that kind of
played heavier music.
Yeah. If they yelled into a microphone, there's a good chance we were gonna.
Yep. Yeah.
So one of the big messages in the lyrics, it's always been anti-religious. Can you tell me a little bit about where this hatred for religion started?
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's. I don't know if I have necessarily a hatred for religion. I just have a realistic idea on religion. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of people take things that could be thought of as a good idea or a good concept or way of living, and they turn them into really terrible, evil things. And unfortunately, I think it's corrupted a lot of not only the world, but the way that we do everything. There's supposed to be this separation between church and state, and I feel like in America and in the world, for that matter, there's a lot of stuff that could be easily fixed by not allowing those two things to butt heads on a regular basis, and I feel like they do far too often.
I agree.
I feel that.
I agree.
Yeah. Everything from stem cell research to what we're in right now with abortion, the potential abolishment of abortion and gay rights and stuff like that, all based around religious beliefs. To me, I think it's just gross. The idea that a woman doesn't have a choice for what she wants to do with her own body, and somebody that might have a debilitating disease that could be easily taken care of with some stem cell research it's just gross.
No, I 110,000% agree. I share the same exact views on it. Yeah. You said it perfect, better than I could.
But
I understand. I see the cross.
Yeah,
I see the cross. So I understand that we might have some difference in beliefs. And
I didn't even notice that. No, I was just down at my mom's house, and she was just like, "Oh, I found this necklace. I think you might like."
Okay.
She might watch this though. So.
Oh, I tried to get a pentagram like Christmas tree like skirt. Like that goes on the stand. My girlfriend found it. She was just like, because my gym bag is a Black Craft duffel bag. And I love walking into box gyms with a big pentagram on the sides of mine. Yeah. I don't know why. But there was this huge pentagram, like, Christmas tree skirt that goes on, like, the base of the Christmas tree. And she sent it to me. She's like, I think you need this. I was like, oh, I fucking need it. This is amazing. This is great. Yeah, so he's totally used to everything.
I'm not taking any offense. I think the shit's fucking badass.
No, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I like to kind of sum it up pretty simply. Like, this is just my opinion. I don't expect anybody to listen to me and really take my opinion overly seriously. I have a ton of Christian friends. I don't really have a problem with somebody being a Christian or being religious in general. My personal thought process on it is
I'm just not.
Dude, It's so funny meeting you, and like you have such a calm demeanor and stuff compared to like how the lyrics that are on paper and the way you deliver them on stage.
Bro, I was thinking the same exact thing. I'm like, yo, watching you on stage and meeting you is like two different entities. Like, it's two different people. It's like, wow. Because there was a live set that's on YouTube with I Declare War, and that's the first time, because I remember listening, like I said, to the self-titled and going, I want to hear him live. So I looked up this one particular live set, and it's the one I showed you. And you sounded almost exactly like you do on the record, like identical. And I'm like, yo, he's amazing. And then when you come on, he's like, do I have boogers? I'm like, oh my God, he's great. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where don't take yourself so seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. You know, we get a pretty good amount of flack for our T-shirts.
Yes.
Oh, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. They're the greatest things ever.
That's something that it is what it is. But for the most part, it's just a joke, man. Just don't take it so serious. You know,
so for the viewers listening, how did let's tell them how like we connected. So we put out a video called "Who Wants to Be a Scene Kid," and we were interviewing Nick Valletta of Wax Vessel, and one of the questions on it was regarding T-shirt design, and he got the question wrong because it was a mirror shirt. But he thought it was you guys.
Yeah, and we did that on purpose because I remember writing this question because I was like, oh, this was a huge thing. And then we're thinking of bands to like throw it off, and I'm like, oh, just add "I Declare War." I guarantee he's gonna pick it.
It makes sense. I mean, we put out some pretty offensive shirts. I think that most of them are pretty funny. We've definitely hit and missed on a couple of them where looking back on it, I'm like, God damn it, I wish I would have done that. But, you know, it is what it is. I don't care about any of this stuff, really. Like, the shirts, basically, like, anything outside of performing live and performing on a record and writing a record, that's the only thing that I really want to take seriously. And I feel like I do as much as I can to take that seriously as I can. So everything else is just like, you know, it should be a little lighthearted or a goof.
I actually love still to this day because I grew up in like the Risecore era. Like I'm pretty young. So I grew up when like offensive T-shirts were the thing to do. Yeah. Like if you put "bitch" on a shirt in the front of the shirt, not even on the back, but in the front in impact font, like the real big ones, like that was the thing. Everyone did it, and that died off somewhere. That died off because maybe these kids can't wear this to school, so they stopped buying it. You were always the one. Fuck it. Release one worse. And I have always appreciated it because I've always looked at every single one of them and go, and like to me that's so like a nostalgic thing. I'm just like, this is they're still that band. They're still the same. And then I'll listen to the music. I'm like, yup, they are still there. They're still perfect. I love it. I love every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the whiskey shirt, I don't think we'll ever stop selling that shirt.
Good.
It is what it is. It still sells really well.
For the viewers that don't know, what does the whiskey shirt say?
Eat pussy, chug whiskey, hail Satan.
Where did that come from?
I just, I was just trying to think about what I could think of as just the most offensive sort of just like get it all taken care of all at once.
Who are you trying to offend, if you don't mind me asking?
Everyone.
Because I'm trying to think of, like, if I was at an I Declare War show and I saw that shirt, I'd be like, oh, that shirt's funny, but where the fuck would I wear this shirt?
Chuck E. Cheese like I did.
Excellent.
I got told to turn my shirt inside out.
Yeah. We've been informed by a ton of people that have purchased the shirt over the years that they've been kicked out of malls and restaurants and different places. So,
and all you can do is just thank you.
Yeah. Man. I mean, it's a goof,
So I know we're jumping, but do you make the shirts? Like, are you the mastermind behind the shirts?
I have a handful of guys that I work with that I give ideas to, and I'll just throw them. I'll throw them an idea, like a real specific idea, and they'll try to like hash it out. Josh Childress, he's this guy. He plays guitar in a band called The Plot and You.
Yeah.
He does a good amount of our designs. This guy named Nick Berg, He did a lot of our early designs. So those are two guys that are kind of my go-to guys when I want like a quick fuck you design, I guess.
Could you imagine? I could just picture it, just you throwing them at like ideas. Hey, write this down, and them just being like, nah. And eat pussy, chug whiskey, and hail Satan is the one that stuck. Could you imagine if there's just worse ones that got pitched? Hey, put this. Nah, man, we just can't do that.
We've definitely had some that are more offensive that some I regret, some I think are pretty funny still. But,
wait, can we talk about them a little bit?
Can we talk about them?
Yeah,
they're out there.
What are some of the more offensive shirts that I declare war caught some flack from?
I mean, I did a Chris Farley shirt that I regret doing now. That one was supposed to be an homage, but I thought it
missed the mark.
It failed. I totally blew it on that one. I completely admit it. We have a shirt that was supposed to be an Australian exclusive that we just didn't really know how to use the word. So I think you guys might have an idea maybe of what shirt I'm talking about.
I don't actually.
F your tits. Fuck your tits shirt.
Yeah.
That one was supposed to be an Australian exclusive because we thought that that's how they use the word. But yeah.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh yes, the F your tits, show your C word.
Yeah. And I regret that shirt. Honestly, like that one was supposed to be this like. It was supposed to be an Australian exclusive, but that one was bad.
Hey,
I mean, but like you said, it's all fun at the end of the day. Like you take the music seriously, so you know.
Yeah.
The
Epstein shirt, that shirt's fucking funny. I don't give a shit that our Tiger King shirt I think is fucking funny.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well, the one thing I noticed that you're doing with your merch now is how you were like saying like, oh, like you're all about like the anti-religion stuff because of the different like minorities of people it's affecting and stuff like that. You have like the anti-homophobia shirts and stuff like that, the fuck Nazis and shit like that. So you're trying to be offensive but in a good way, like with a good message behind it with like the newer merch.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's not even like I wouldn't even consider "fuck Nazis" offensive. But
it's offensive to them, probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a guy a couple days ago. He commented, "I wonder I wonder if I'll offend people with this shirt." And all I could comment back was, "I hope you don't offend anybody because the reality is, fuck Nazis."
Yeah.
I hope everybody feels that way. And our gay rights shirt is just because it's just the way that we feel, same-sex marriage should be totally fine. And I think that a lot of the time it's held back because of some bad eggs.
Right. If they want to be miserable with with the same person for the rest of their life, God bless them.
God bless them, right?
Oh, so all right. So those who lie beneath. For getting back to it,
good band.
There was a misconception of being a deathcore band signed to Rise Records back in the day. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like we definitely got kind of pigeonholed into a bad spot. That label and those guys did everything that they could for us. Craig was awesome to us. He was always there for us. We had barbecues at his house. He's a Portland guy. So
oh, nice.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So they took really good care of us. They set us up with excellent management, an excellent booking agent. But when you have a just like a normal kid who is pretty committed to, a type of music or something like that, and they see Rise behind it. And at the time, the biggest bands on that record label were like Devil Wears Prada, Attack, stuff like that. We get kind of lumped into that, and we definitely weren't that.
Right.
So, it was tough. We wanted to do tours with Behemoth and tours with Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. And we were getting offers to do tours with, My Children, My Bride and stuff like that. And it just, while those guys were great, we toured with them. We toured with, the tour was My Children, My Bride and the Red Chord. So it was like 50-50. Mm-hmm. Half the tour made sense for us with the Red Chord, and then the other half was like, nobody's going to listen to us. This is a Christian metalcore band, and we're not gaining fans with this tour. So
right. So it was like a blessing and the curse. You had the backing of a label, but it was because you were associated with that label. It was confusing people.
Yeah, and I think that does happen occasionally. Like even now, there's bands like that they'll jump on a record label and think that it's a great move, and then like I don't know, like Touche Amore, for example. I know that they were on Jay-Z's management company for a while, and that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. It didn't really seem like it would work very well. I'm sure there's a ton of different
examples.
It's still kind of like that. It still is. It's very weird. I know personally my band's going through it, like talks with different labels and stuff like that, and it's very funny because we would talk to different people who are shopping our stuff, or our producer, or our help, basically our team, and they're like, yeah, they're not gonna, you don't suit their roster, like, and I'm just like, yeah, it's still kind of like that. I think that broke with Rise when I'm gonna say it, but like the Acacia Strain signed them. When the Acacia Strain signed to Rise, everyone was like, what the fuck? Who paid what? And even that album wasn't received very, very well because it came from Rise. It was a very weird thing, but now that stigma and a couple different labels are broken. But I could totally see back then, especially the times that you're talking about that was coming out. Yeah, that was a very real thing. That was a thing between even fans, because they were like fans of the label. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even fans of the band. It was fans of the record label. Like you would walk on Warped Tour and see Rise record tank tops.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got like there's a few record labels over the years that have become like Rise Core, Sumerian Core. They have like a sound. Mm-hmm. Like there's a specific sound that comes along with those record labels, and we didn't fit the Rise Core sound. So it was a bummer because they were so fucking great to us, and they really pushed us really hard. But I don't know, man. We were still really young too. Who knows? Things might have changed over the years if we would have kept going with them. But when we came out of the block, it was tough to get a whole lot of push from not only new fans that were interested in like Metal Blade and Willow Tip and the record labels that we were listening to, Relapse Records and stuff like that, and getting those guys to convert to be fans of a Rise Records band.
Right. So with the band, you ended up touring with the band Behemoth, and for being young kids, like that's a pretty big thing to do. Do you have any good memories touring with those dudes?
We only did a couple shows with those guys. I wish we would have done more, but the little interaction that we had with them, they were great, man. They were fucking super cool. We went into it thinking that the tour was also going to have this band called The Shining on it too, which I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're super extreme. So we were just really excited for the entire tour, but yeah, it was a short run, but it was rad. I mean, you know, still to this day, Evangelion that's probably my favorite death metal record of all time. So just being able to hear that stuff and kind of experience it not only in a sound check but also, you know, watch it live was pretty rad.
Nice.
That's sick. That's definitely cool.
It seemed like your buddy Kyle, he seemed like kind of like one of the band leaders. What was your relationship with him?
Kyle and I are still great friends. He's the guitar player that went on to Vitriol.
Yeah.
We always, basically, I got along with everybody in the band. The two guitar players, unfortunately, didn't get along very well near the end.
Okay.
I don't know how much, you know. They weren't overly close near the end.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it really boiled down to one guy was really trying to write one style of music, and the other guy was trying to write a different style of music. And at the time, Kyle and I really wanted to get significantly more, you know, technical and more extreme. And those sort of, if you don't want to do that, it's kind of hard to sign on to be a part of that.
Right.
So yeah. So Kyle and I, we stuck around together for a little while, and then I got a call to do some guest stuff for I Declare War.
Nice.
And that kind of, you know, it kind of happened sort of quick, and I was trying to do both like pretty desperately for about a year, and it kind of got to the point where it was like I had to make, you know, I had to make the choice. And
damn.
Yeah, I felt like I had, you know, I felt like at that point, Those Lie Beneath wasn't really going the direction that I wanted it to go to, just because we had lost our manager, we had lost our booking agent through all these, like, you know, member changes and stuff like that. And I could kind of see the writing on the wall. And
well, you guys also lost your drummer and bass player, I believe, at some point.
So we had, I mean, we were like fucking Spinal Tap with drummers. I mean, we had like 10 drummers over the history of that band. It's crazy, because at the time that was pretty extreme stuff. So like finding somebody on short notice to fill in for a tour was super fucking hard.
Definitely. So with the technical music you're playing, like, it's like, yo, learn these songs. It's like, what the fuck?
And they got to be the tightest one, yo.
Yeah. So it was always really stressful, but Scott Walker, who ended up being the kind of like on again, off again drummer, ended up being the full-time drummer, I think, and still is, for Vitriol. So yeah, I mean, it's just like losing members like that. It's fucking hard, man. And you know, I've definitely went through my fair share with I Declare War too. So it never gets easier, I can tell you that much.
Dude, I found it's basically an audition like flyer saying seeking bassist and drummer, those who lie beneath. And it like whoever wrote it, you could definitely tell is just like fed up with bullshit band, like lazy band members or whatever, or not
Most
lazy, but like
Kyle.
What?
Most likely Kyle. Kyle is not only is Kyle very articulate, he's also extremely like blunt.
Yeah.
He knows exactly
this thing's
what he
blunt.
wants.
Must have not only a passion for music, but a passion for your instrument. Cannot have debilitating substance abuse. Like, all fair points, but like you could just tell, like, I'm just ready for this band to take off. So if you're a fucking lame, get the fuck out of my way.
Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
Too funny. All right, let's get into the I Declare War years. So, Jonathan Huber, well, first I want to say that I noticed from your guys' MySpace that, like, you guys were buddy bands at this point.
Yes.
Like, you were on each other's tops, like, basically your top threes. Jonathan Huber, I saw him comment on a YouTube video saying, I Declare War was my baby in life for 5+ years, but why would I continue playing music that I'm no longer happy playing? I hate almost all that breakdown mosh metal stuff now. The market for it is more oversaturated than hip hop and R&B. It was time for me to step aside and do what I wanted to do for a long time. Guttural slam, brutal death metal.
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah,
like
man. He also went through it too, though, because he was one of the last original members also at this point in the band.
Could you repeat that?
At this point in the band, right before you joined, I think it was only him and one other member that were like OG members of I Declare War.
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to get really technical, there was a singer before John, but it was very short lived.
Okay.
I think they did one EP with him. He ended up in a band called Cascabel, which is a pretty killer band from Seattle. But yeah, I mean, I think that he just got over it. I know that he was in kind of like a tumultuous relationship with a girl at the time, and I think that probably wore on him a little bit. And I think that he was just kind of sick of playing what he didn't want to play anymore. And I know he was a huge fan of hardcore, but he was also a huge fan of like slam death metal. So I guess it kind of makes sense, you know, if you get sick of something and you don't want to do it anymore, why do it?
Right. If your heart's not in it, like
kind of like we were going back to where, you know, the technical stuff, but on this side it's like, well, if you want to play that and you're still not going to be happy with it.
Right.
Exactly. Did you have a relationship with John?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. So I Declare War was like our Seattle buddy band. So whenever we would play Seattle, I Declare War would play, or like basically anywhere in Washington.
Gotcha.
Anywhere in Tacoma, Seattle, Spokane, Tri-Cities, anywhere around there they would play. And then if they would come down to Portland, we would always have a show for them. And we were always, good enough friends. They were still a local band basically when we got signed. So I think that they kind of initially tried to buddy up with us more than maybe we buddied up with them.
Interesting.
But all those guys were great. I have nothing, I don't really have anything bad to say about any of them. It just, things happen and members change, and
such
unfortunately over a 13-year, what is it? I guess it's not 13 years for me, but it's like 13 or 14 years for the band. Things happen, especially if you're, a young man and you're trying to basically figure your life out, and you're in the most pivotal years of your life when it comes to like, music. What am I going to do for the rest of my life? A lot of people just don't want to be in a deathcore band for the rest of their life.
So how was it joining I Declare War? Like, how did that happen? Like, did they just say, hey, come do this, or did you approach them being like, hey, you have an open?
No, so I was actually fixing a tire for my good friend's mom at the time on the side of the road when I got a call from Brent, who was the bass player, and they were on tour, and they, basically it was like, hey, John's quitting. I can't get into why. Would you be interested in filling in for us for a tour? And I was just basically like, if it's a fill-in, sure. When do you need me? Thinking, like 2 months from now, I would be doing 10 days to 2 weeks with them or something like that. But they were like, we need you in 10 days. and we'll fly you out to Florida for the first show.
Sick.
So it was like, all right, let's, tell me the songs you need me to learn, and let's keep it to, I think it was either 7 or 8 songs. It's about as far as I could really. I couldn't handle anything else.
I mean, even that's impressive in 10 days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the beauty of it. A lot of that early stuff was a lot of gutturals. And you just didn't need to learn any of the lyrics.
Just the sound. Okay, this sound.
Yeah. Just make it sound kind of close to what you're trying to do, and people will believe it. And, obviously after I got off the tour, I learned the rest of the lyrics. But one tour kind of turned into another, and I really enjoyed touring with those guys, and it was a really good vibe. And at the time, Those Lie Beneath was we were in a bit of a weird spot because we had started to, things started getting shaky with, we had driven out to New Jersey to start a European tour with, it was Aborted, Rotten Sound, and the Red Chord, which was like, at the time, that was like a dream tour for me.
Fuck yeah.
So we drove out there 3 days straight, no shows. Day we got there, a volcano erupts in Iceland, and all flights worldwide are down for 2 weeks. So we sit in a hotel room for 7 days, 8 days, and then finally they're just like, the tour's been going for too long. It's financially not viable for you guys to just be sitting in a hotel room. So drive back home. So we drove 3 days back the other direction.
Bummer.
And that was kind of like the ultimate spirit breaker for the band. And I got the opportunity to go out with I Declare War at that point, and it was a cool tour, great bands. I quickly realized they had pretty good backing behind them and people that were pretty interested in them at the time and really took good care of them. And then I also found out that their next 2 tours were with Whitechapel and the Acacia Strain. Those are my favorite bands ever,
so you were pumped.
Oh yeah, Acacia Strain still to this day, I think is, I really don't think it gets much better than those guys.
So I met Vince once, and he's the most confusing man to figure out, because he's like a giant. He is a giant mammoth of a human being. And I remember 17-year-old me, I opened up for them once in New York, in a place that I had never played before. It was the biggest venue we played, and he walked around a corner as I was walking, and I just stopped. I was like, oh my God. And I said that audibly. And I was like, well, it's really good to be playing with you guys. I've loved you since I was a fucking 12. And he just looks at me like, I'll never forget it. He goes, yeah, thanks, man, so much. Really means a lot. So we've never played this venue. How do you think it's going to be? And I'm you're the fucking Acacia Strain. How am I supposed to know? I go on in 15 minutes.
Dude, that's funny.
Oh, God, he was so funny. Did you get along with the rest of those guys, like the Acacia Strain and Whitechapel, for those tours? Did you get along with them?
Yeah, I mean, so the first tour that we did with Whitechapel was Whitechapel, Miss May I, Veil of Maya, and Oceano. So it was a monster for the first run, and everybody on the tour got along really well. I mean, it was fucking awesome. It's really my first experience with partying on tour, because we were a pretty strict band in TWLB. And then the next one was Whitechapel, Acacia Strain. Actually, Veil of Maya was on this one. Chelsea Grin, who I toured with at that point I toured with him 10 times. So
you guys were label mates.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't believe that they were on our label yet. I just randomly we were kind of we were buddy bands for several years with Those Alive Beneath, and then we ended up being buddy bands again with IDW. So it kind of worked out that way, and I love those guys. The new guys too, who I don't know them very well, but you know, Pablo and David, I'm still good friends with.
That's awesome to hear that you had some good times partying with those dudes. Do you have like any like specific memories partying with those guys?
I mean, you know, we just, you know, with like the Grin guys, it was just, they were kids, so they got drunk so easy.
That's
so
funny.
it was just fun, you know.
They're the freshmen.
It's fun when you're a kid and you're just like getting drunk with your friends. There was never really like specific stuff that we did that was like crazy. We got more, like, I Declare War got crazier like once we got a little older, and we got like a little bit more squirrely, and we were, you know, there for a little while. We got a bit of a reputation, especially when we were overseas touring, where we would get a little squirrely and we would break shit and stuff like that. And
you're a hotel room destroyer.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, we were partying, we were fucking going wild, but it wasn't like we were never out to hurt anybody or like be overly malicious or anything like that. We just
reckless,
rockstar shit.
Yeah.
I always wondered who pays for the damages.
If you can't, it's usually the label, and then you're usually like shit out of luck with them for like a solid month.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's back this up for a second. So when you joined I Declare War, obviously you first thought of it as just as like a fill-in position, and then you joined the band eventually. Did you feel like there were big shoes to fill because of Jon? I know that Jon's legacy for his era in the band is highly regarded. Did the fans welcome you with open arms?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was pretty good, but obviously, considering the guy, you know, at the time was very well regarded as being like this like big deal in the deathcore community. They were big shoes to fill, and I think that's probably a huge reason behind me not wanting to give up. Was, you know, in the beginning when when the announcement was made that I was going to be the full-time singer, there was definitely some confusion, considering, you know, most people consider the face of that band to be Jon. So, you know, they kind of just expected it to fall apart after that, and I was really committed to not letting that happen. You know, we put out that self-titled record about a year after I had joined the band, and you know, I really, really committed to that being some of the best material that I had ever put out at that point.
So you wanted it to be like known that like you're the new face of this band.
Yeah, I mean, if not the new face, at the very least, you know, I wanted it to be known that like I'm not fucking around. You know, I'm I'm taking this extremely seriously.
Right.
And I feel like I, you know, did everything that I could to take it as seriously as possible, at least from a performance standpoint. You know, I feel like I was, you know, as reasonable as I could be with people when they would, you know, be blatantly disrespectful to me occasionally about, you know, about member changes and stuff like that. But, you know, for the most part, it was a pretty good response. You know,
nice.
I'm pretty happy with the way, not only with the way that it turned out, but the way it's turned out over the years.
Nice. Yeah, no, I was reading just through comments and stuff. A lot of people like commenting on the member change, saying stuff like they couldn't have picked a better new vocalist to replace Jon for the band.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, and I guess it kind of makes sense because, you know, at that time we were kind of the two guys in the Northwest that were doing what we did. We had some, you know, obvious variant differences on the way that we did some stuff, but you know, for the most part, I think that what we were doing was we were the best at what we did in at that time in the cities that we lived in. So, you know, I guess it kind of made sense that I was the logical pick.
No, it's crazy though, because like you can see, like it happens all the time where like one lead singer leaves and like the band still wants to stay together, so they get like a new vocalist. And right now you can see it with Attack Attack. Have you listened to the new Attack Attack single?
I have not. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't think I've ever actually heard Attack Attack.
Okay, we'll just skip through this because that's been a big topic in the house right now, and since you've been label mates with those guys, I wanted to see if you had a possible opinion on that whole lineup change, considering you've been through some crazy lineup changes.
Yeah. Over the years, it's been a lot of work.
Oh yeah, no, I commend you for I do a lot of these interviews, and it's always like I have to like do my research and try to figure out like the timelines of different shit and like the member changes and shit like that. And the person I'm talking to, I always feel bad because there's always some fucking crazy story that leads them to where they are today, and they've stuck through it. They fucking pushed through. They put in the work. And dude, I gotta say, even with like the new album, the newest EP you guys put out, Downcast, yeah. What's the song called? Hopeless?
Yeah.
I feel like that song, the lyrics relate to a lot about what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, that one was like very specifically kind of what we're talking about. I mean, I've put in like 10 years at this point, over 10 years at this point with this band, and some people I can't, I'll never win with, you know, and it bums me out, but the reality is it's just like, fuck them, you know what I mean? Like, it's not your baby anymore, you know? It's not yours, it's mine. And I've put everything that I have into this shit.
There we go. I wanted to ask you about that because, respectfully, I want to ask you this. Yeah. Shortly after you joined I Declare War, the rest of the original and current lineup left the band, and you kept running with it. You're like, fuck it, I declare war. Like, this is my shit, even though everyone else is gone. You're freshly new, and you had to find new members for you and the future of the name I Declare War. Why not just start a new project at this point?
Well, okay, so first of all, I was like almost 2 years in at this point when things started to happen, and it was like a slow thing. It wasn't really as quick as a lot of people think it is. We lost one member, and then we lost one member about like a year and a half in, and it was because he wanted to get like a real legit job. He was tired of not making any money touring. We lost the second member because he was getting married and he wanted to also get a legit like big boy job. And then it basically was, you know, guitar player and drummer who were left, I mean, the drummer wasn't an original, but he'd been there for a long time, and you know, it just kind of boiled down to like differences of who he wanted to tour with. And I was like, look, man, I'll do what I got to do to keep you happy. You know, this is starting to get a little uncomfortable just because we're losing guys. And what he wanted to keep him happy was to lose the final original member, and I went along with it. And I wish that it wouldn't have went the way that it did, and I wish that we could have worked something out, but it happened. It sucks, but I've also put, at this point, 2 years of my life into this, and a record into it, and like basically a full album cycle, or half an album cycle into it. And I wasn't, I don't really feel like I had much of a shot to like start over again.
Right.
So it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm not gonna just like give up because I was asked to be a part of this thing, and now the people that asked me, after they've decided to leave for like legitimate reasons, they wanted to go get real jobs. They wanted to actually make a living. I wasn't just going to leave because they were ready to hang it up,
Dude, I feel like a dickhead now for our reaction video of us fucking clowning on Attack.
I don't.
Basically, Attack right now is in a new position where like they're calling themselves Attack, but really it's just members of Nine Shrines and there's
a band called Drudges.
And Drudges, yeah. And we were saying a bunch of stuff like, hey, like, you're just using the name to get money at the end of the day. But like hearing you explain the reason you felt you needed to stick around I Declare War, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's maybe a little bit of a difference between us and Attack 2. We didn't make any money. I mean, we still barely make any money. So it wasn't a money thing for us. It wasn't like a fame thing, because the reality is deathcore is a subgenre within a genre that isn't overly popular anyways. So it wasn't really that. It was just more or less I'd put everything that I had into this shit. I don't really know the Attack guys situation, but if they had put a ton of time into it and it fell apart on them for one reason or another, I definitely, I don't think I disagree with them, trying to reform. I don't know. I don't really know their situation.
No one knows.
Yeah.
Got to get them on the pod.
Gotta ask them.
I don't mean to be a bum out. I feel like I got kind of bummery there.
No, dude, that was a real genuine answer that I wanted to hear, because I mean, me trying to just like see why you stuck around. I was wondering if it was like for scene clout because you wanted to keep the name, or what the deal was. But the truth is you put a ton of work into that self-titled record. You already have been touring it, and like you said, people invited you into the band, and because they couldn't stick around, that's not your fucking fault.
You're invested. You are now an investor of the band, of the title, of everything that goes into it, from the moment you started to that moment there. Like, you had your time invested, probably money invested, your voice, your persona, your face is invested. So I don't blame you for not leaving, and in reality, thank you for not leaving, because you produce great fucking music.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, so who is responsible for your campy, goofy music videos? They kind of just look like 80s like B horror movies.
We did that for a while, because it kind of just goes back to what I was saying earlier about like don't take much serious. It's ridiculous to just always have like the black t-shirt, the black pants, like dark grim music videos and stuff like that. And I also grew up on, like 80s horror and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that stuff. And Creepshow was a big part of, my teens and stuff. So
definitely.
I definitely wanted to try and do like a Creepshow style music video, and I think we nailed it with that one.
Nailed it, dude. That was good. It reminded me of have you seen Creepshow 3?
I don't know if I've seen 3, but the first 2 I fucking love.
Same.
Yeah.
Because the one scene in it where like the band just like it just stops and it's just the band being like, ooh.
Yeah.
You talk about that shit cracked me up.
Yeah, we were goofing around pretty hard on that one. We, like, looking back on it, we probably should have maybe taken it a little bit more seriously, because I think we threw some people off. They didn't really this whole entire genre of music, they take everything so seriously, and like I said, it's performing live, writing lyrics, tracking, like playing, like writing the best music I can are the only things that I think bands should take so seriously.
Dope.
Yeah.
The March On music video, I saw a bunch of people in the comment section clowning on the special effects.
Yeah, that was
so good.
It was rough. That video, I think that the way that they wanted to market that was, it was like too hot for TV sort of thing, where it was like X-rated and it couldn't get on, it couldn't make YouTube because it was too brutal or something like that. So they just tried to do this video that I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I mean, you win some, you lose some. The special effects definitely could have been better, but
the shot at the end, dude, I thought it was gonna end with like right before he shoots it, fades to black and you hear the gunshot, but it legit just shoots the dude in the head. I was wondering, like, with things like that, your lyrics, like your t-shirt designs, has this, like, any of this stuff like affected like your personal life, like with getting a job or anything? Like, do people look you up and they're just like, what the fuck? Like,
not yet. I'm sure it will eventually. I'm still just kind of like I guess I've always been self-employed for the most part. I worked at a nightclub for a little while, actually for a long while.
What'd you do there?
I was a bouncer.
Dude, I used to do the door, so I'd hang out with the bouncers all the time. Bouncers are the best people.
Yeah. So I think that that sort of imagery and stuff kind of doesn't really affect that sort of work.
Sure.
But eventually, when I want to become like a plumber or a fucking electrician or something like that, and try to get like a legit, like, committed job for the rest of my life, there's a chance that it could affect the hiring of me, but I'm gonna try my best to talk them out of not hiring me because of stupid
band
t-shirt
stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So being a bouncer, have you seen any crazy shit doing it? Because you see a lot of drunk people and you have to basically put out fires the whole night.
It definitely made me really, really appreciate service industry a lot, especially the venue that I worked at was one of the bigger venues in Portland. So, I mean, they serve, pretty reasonably there, but people, you never know when they're going to get too drunk. And I physically was carrying somebody out almost every night of the week that I was there. And, you learn how to de-escalate fights, and you also learn how to, take people down without throwing punches and stuff like that. And I feel like I got pretty good at it. I'm proud to say that I worked there for 5 years up until the fucking pandemic started and we had to shut everything down. I never actually punched anybody when I was there.
Hey, there we go.
Did you ever get to use your vocals to de-escalate a situation?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, I knew it.
Fuck yeah.
It's a loud venue, so,
Get the fuck over here.
Yo, I'd be like, what? So has anybody recognized you?
Yeah, I mean, I get it every once in a while. We did the emo night in Portland.
Sick.
The official emo night. So
Yeah.
every single Tuesday that we did it, it was sold out, like max capacity, line around the corner, and 5 or 6 times a night. Yeah, you get somebody that's like, oh shit, I know you. You know.
No, you don't. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I'm in my other clothes.
Right. Yeah. I'm a normie right now.
Yeah. Don't look at me.
All right, so current day with I Declare War, you're making music with John Winters. Can you tell me about your dynamic with him?
John and I have been working together for 8 years now at this point. So we've gotten pretty good at working together. He is, I mean, he might be the easiest person I've ever worked with.
Why is that?
I don't know. He's just so easy, like easygoing. There's never really like a major problem that he gets overly stressed out about, or has like any sort of like real issue with. It's just something that if we need it fixed, we can get it fixed. We write over Zoom, or excuse me, we write over like FaceTime a lot of the time, because he's up in Seattle and I'm down here in Portland. So, if I ever need to like mouth a part to him that I want him to write, he always figures it out really easy. And, just like overall, we've gotten along so well over the years that it's been a great process to, work with a guy that not only I can count on, but like I can really commit to as a songwriter.
Fuck yeah. And it's just you guys that are writing the music, correct?
Yeah, technically, yeah, it's John and I, but we've had a, I guess you'd call it like hired gun band with us for 3 or 4 years now. The same guys. This guy named Garen Howe. He's in Los Angeles, and then Greg Kirkpatrick, who actually plays guitar in a band called As Blood Runs Black.
I knew
He
that name.
is the second guitar player. He's a Seattle guy who moved back up to Seattle. So it was just like, let's just get Greg. We'd known him for years, and he's filled in over the years, and it's, as a 4-piece, we just work so well together when we're touring and stuff like that. So that's the big thing for me, is like, do we get along? Can we all just like agree on things? Can we all just like live in a small tight space together and have a good time together? And the 4 of us have gotten along, and we really enjoy each other's company. So that's been the big thing for us.
Cool. What about Downcast? Can you tell us about the writing and recording process of that?
Yeah, the whole record was written and recorded over FaceTime.
Damn.
Yeah, either it was John, playing riffs for me, or me mouthing riffs to him. He would, program demo drums, and we would basically just like demo everything, and then talk it out on FaceTime and stuff like that. And it kind of went together pretty well. We decided we wanted to go with an EP because, I really feel like people's attention span it's straight up dying at this point. So, I personally don't, a lot of the time, listen to much more than 5 or 6 songs anyways on a record, unless it's a really good record. So, we just decided an EP was probably going to be the move we would go with for that one. And I don't know, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. We knew we wanted to be more aggressive and faster. That was like the main goal, was we wanted to play faster on that stuff, and I think we nailed it.
I definitely think it's some of the heaviest stuff you've put out to date.
Thank you very much. That is definitely the goal, was to be heavy. The mixing and mastering was done by Aaron Kitcher. He plays drums in Infinite Annihilator.
Oh, dope.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and drums in that band Black Tongue. And he also mixed and mastered those Black Tongue records. And I really, really like the way those records sound. so I was just, we'd done a couple shows with him, so I knew him well enough to just like hit him up and be like, hey dude, how would you feel about mixing and mastering our stuff? And he was a little reluctant because he'd never done it for anybody else, but I was just like, let's see what you got. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And he sent us some stuff that we really, really liked, and I'm super happy with the way it turned out.
It's definitely awesome. I also noticed that it looks like it was self-released.
Oh yeah.
So do you find it, being that I Declare War was with, you guys were with Artery before Artery was bought, do you guys feel like you have more freedom on how you can release it and what you can do with it, rather than having like, well, I can't do this because the label probably already won't like it, or this, that, and the third? Like, did you like self-releasing this, the EP?
Yeah. So we've self-released. We self-released the EP, and we also self-released Songs for the Sick.
I thought so.
Yeah, the last record that we did with Artery was We Are Violent People by Nature, and Artery was great. I mean, they basically let us do whatever we wanted to do. That's when we started doing all the offensive shirts and stuff like that. So, if they were going to stop us anywhere, it was gonna probably put us at those shirts. That was never really the thing. It was just more or less like the idea that I get total freedom to take as long as I want to write a record, to put whatever I want to on the record. I'm fronting all of the money for everything to go into the record. So in return, all those streaming rights, all the physical rights, everything is all coming back to us. So I think that overall, I wish we had like a publicist, but aside from that, like, I really feel like, it's been the best decision we've ever made, was choosing to go independent instead of, having somebody behind us to basically just be a bankroll. Yeah. And a bankroll where we just don't really know where the money's going. I don't know. Still to this day, I don't know where royalties are going to, like, any of the records before Songs for the Sick.
That's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little disappointing, considering I don't necessarily think that there's a whole lot of physical royalties coming out anymore, but self-titled still, that record still does a shitload of streams every month. Where Violent People by Nature does, I think, outside of Songs for the Sick, that's the second most popular record we've ever put out. So yeah, so Songs for the Sick and then We Are Violent People are the two most popular records, like, stream-wise, we've ever put out, and then self-titled. So those three records, I have no fucking idea where that money's going. Yeah. Which, it is what it is. I wish I could, get somebody on the phone to just get to the bottom of that sort of stuff. But the reality is, I'm doing my own thing now, and DIY is difficult. There's roadblocks that come along with being DIY, but there's also a lot of advantages to it too, with the fact that it's as much as I put into it is as much as I'm going to get out of it.
Facts.
What is the biggest roadblock that you had with? Let's just talk about Downcast. What was the biggest roadblock that you guys had with this EP? Was there any?
Well, I mean, the biggest roadblock was fucking a global pandemic that happened.
So you didn't get to tour it or anything.
All right, yeah, that's true.
We did one European tour on it that was very successful. I mean, we did 10 shows. I want to say 6 or 7 of them sold out. You know, it's, you know, the tour was, it's the best we've ever done over in Europe. We didn't even get an opportunity really to tour on it in the States, aside from like, I want to say we did three or four US shows with Despised Icon, which is fucking awesome. You know, I would love to tour with those guys, but we just didn't really get an opportunity to do anything. And yeah, I mean, outside of that, I think the biggest thing is like just the idea that I think that there's still kind of this like archaic system in control where if you're not on a record label, getting a publicist to back you is it can be kind of tough, especially a publicist that doesn't that has an idea about that industry. You know, like I'm sure that we could hire a publicist that does like, you know, pop music or something like that, or like day-to-day work, but they're not going to really know where to put us. They're not going to really, you know, have a good idea of where to like land interest for what we're trying to do.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I obviously that's a huge roadblock, because having somebody that can get us into like magazines or get us onto like internet websites and stuff like that is super important, but I feel like I can do a fair amount of the day-to-day stuff myself. So yeah. I've just committed to doing it all myself.
That's sick.
Yeah.
How do you do it by yourself though? Do you just like reach out to like for instance, like getting on a podcast or some shit like that, or like trying to get on like your music featured on like New Noise or some shit like that? Yeah. Like, do you just compile a list of all different like press outlets and just email your new music with links to all of them?
I mean, I'm too scatterbrained to like really commit to like lists and stuff like that. I spend a lot of time on my phone, and I find, you know, if it's something that I find interesting or something like that, I'll reach out. Or the way that you know, I got a hold of you guys was I just commented in the comment section, you know, thanks for mentioning us. You know, it's cool. You know, I appreciate any sort of interest that anybody has in us. So you know, it kind of just like organically came together that way with you guys. A lot of the time I'll have to, you know, submit stuff to like different web zines and stuff like that, like, you know, Lamb Goat or Metal Injection or something like that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they show interest and sometimes they don't. So, you know, it just kind of depends on how they're feeling that day. And, you know, it is what it is, you know, like I can't take it too seriously, because, you know, if I took every failure that I had and I compiled them next to the victories, I would be I'd be a miserable person, because I guarantee you I've had 10 times the amount of failures in this industry as I've had victories, and I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. So, you know, I'll take what I can get.
Good, man. Yeah. That's very positive. Yeah. All right, so let's get talking about. I noticed you guys have a cover for Dead and Bloated, the STP cover. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I wanted to do that cover since TWLB days, and it just never worked out. Chris, an older member from IDW, he and I were gonna do it just as like a random thing where it was just going to be he and I were going to put something out, and then that just kind of fell apart. And Jon is as big of a grunge guy as I am, so I think it just kind of like organically came up. You know, we were probably drinking and listening to something, and I brought up, I would love to do that song, and he was like, "Oh, dude, yeah, that'd be sick. Like, that'd be a great song on an 8-string, you know." And it just kind of worked out.
Yeah, the guitar. Yeah. I was wondering if it was because the guitar sounds crazy on that. And my favorite thing with covers is when an artist takes the cover and puts their twist on it. And you know, hearing your vocals on a Stone Temple Pilots song is fucking sick.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I had a ton of fun with that. We've actually even kind of been kicking around the idea to do like a cover, like a specific to like Seattle era, like 90s grunge era cover record. So maybe in the future. That might be down the pipe sometime in the semi near future.
Dope.
Yeah. That's pretty sick. That'd be definitely different and something that people would definitely like. So that'd be cool.
Yeah,
especially for your area.
Yeah. The big thing is like I feel like a lot of people just don't really. They hear that stuff now and they don't really understand how important that music is to the world. Mm-hmm. That music was so fucking heavy for its time, man. Like Dirt, that Alice in Chains record, that's still, I think it's still one of the heaviest records ever written. And the fact that those records aren't put up there as some of the heaviest records ever written is fucking blasphemy to me, man.
It's amazing that shit was mainstream at one point.
Yeah.
Like that was grunge. Like grunge was DIY and it went fucking mainstream. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not only was it mainstream, but I mean, it came after like hair metal too. So it was just such a turn of position. You know, they basically just took everything. You know, all like the slick tones and like the real like flashy sound, and they basically just got rid of all of it. And they said like, let's just strip everything down and just like be meat and potatoes and really just like do everything from the heart. And I think that era of music fucking nailed it. And it's kind of an homage, I guess, if you will, for us, if we ever actually committed to actually doing a full record. So
dude, I think that'd be tight if you did that. I'm about it.
I'd listen.
Yeah. Featured X, I saw that you were on it.
Yeah.
Have you had any cool collabs since joining their services?
I've gotten a few different collabs. I just did one with this guy, Aaron Chapman. It's a full song, which I typically don't do. Most of the time I just do like a breakdown or like a verse or something like that. But he came to me with like a full song offer, and he wrote the lyrics for it and made it about as easy as he could for me. So I got to do that, and I'm actually really happy with the way it turned out. I think that he might be releasing it. I want to say it's like December 17th or something like that. Let me see. Yeah,
I know who Aaron Chapman is.
You know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. See, I don't know. He just came to me. I don't like. Sometimes I just get asked to do stuff, and I'll check out the band. And
before I switch genres, I was going to ask him to help ghostwrite.
Yeah, see, he's a producer.
Yeah,
that's about the gist of what I got out of him. And he came to me and he wanted to basically write an entire song and base it around one beat, which I thought like, that's a cool idea. So we went with it, and the song came out super sick. And yeah, I think it's going to be out, I want to say next week or 2 weeks from now or something like
that's
that.
That's sick.
So,
I think Featured X is just kind of like the future of where music should be going. It gives like artists an opportunity to work with people that they wouldn't, like the professionals that they wouldn't have the opportunity to work with, and it gives the artists that you could hire for it. It gives them more content to put out by being featured.
So first off, I'm inexpensive on that website comparatively to a lot of other people. So I definitely try to keep my price low so people can request to work with me a lot easier. That's super important to me, is that I'm accessible. I don't really like the idea of somebody having to pay
of an arm and a leg.
Fucking $2,000 or something like that, just for like a breakdown that takes 15 to 20 minutes to track. So
dude, that's what I'm saying, man. Like Featured X also gives artists like an opportunity to have another source of income.
Yeah. I think that the income has been important for me, but to be totally honest, I think I'm the most jealous about it, that I just didn't think up the idea. I mean, Tuck, the guy who started it, that fucking idea it's on the tip of everybody's tongue every time they do a feature. It's just nobody ever thought to like put that together. And it's such a good idea.
It's funny because you always see rappers like posting on their stories saying like $150 feature, hit my DMs.
Yeah. Yo, so okay, so this happened. This was like a big thing in the music industry, like as like pop music. Have you heard of the Fire Festival?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the Fire app, like what it was originally supposed to be like doing, was something very similar to Featured X, but on a more grand scale, to where you can book the artist. It was supposed to be like the Uber for artists. Ooh. Where like if I Declare War was on it, and I Declare War, I wanted them to play my birthday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could go on that app and book them for their price.
Oh, dude.
But it's really cool because this is like kind of more geared towards musicians for musicians by musicians. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And it became super easy for bands to do that, because I remember shit as a little fucking teeny kid. Man, I wonder how this person charges. I wonder how much this charges for a feature. Now I could just, oh, okay, cool. And that's it.
Right. All I'm saying though is I don't know why no one's tried making King for a Day 2 and booking Kellen Quinn. It's it's the best idea in the world to get people to click on your band's music.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna start doing that. Just making songs of bands that they already did. Yeah, just part 2 and just feature them.
Yeah, it's a fucking genius idea, and I noticed they started doing like guitar players and stuff like that now too.
Yeah,
that's that's probably just as easy as a vocalist at this point, because most people are recording demos and stuff like that on Pro Tools and stuff. So it's just as quick to track a sweet lead or something like that for someone as it is to track a vocal part.
It's not going to hold people back because they don't have band members anymore. It's right. Because with this guitarist and the drummers, even some of the drummers that I know personally who are on it,
like
Peyo's on it. Yeah. He's a studio drummer. He's a session when he's not touring in his band. He's a session drummer. So I'm like, this is going. I hope this is going to make a boom in music, to where people can get so creative, to where if it's like a single project, let's say I can record guitars and vocals myself, but I don't have a drummer and I want live drums, I can go on there and make that happen.
Well, that's how your band does it, right, Jamie?
Yeah, basically, I mean, Jon and I, we track everything online. Mm-hmm. It's all just like, it's all over the internet.
So in your house, you got like a little vocal booth set up and stuff, like your own little studio?
I can't do that. I cannot commit to doing stuff at my house. I can't even commit to like singing in my car.
Really?
I'm a bit of a weirdo. I can't help it. I have to play with somebody. So I have like a side project, that Sacrifice Your side project.
Yeah.
That's how I stay in shape vocally.
Cool.
When I'm doing I Declare War demoing and stuff like that, I'll take my demos to Taylor, who plays guitar in Sacrificer, and he'll track all my vocals for me.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah. I just, there's something about having my workspace in my house outside of like, basically my workspace is like my cell phone, and it would be like a microphone. But I don't know. There's something about.
So you book studio time?
What's that?
You just book studio time?
Oh, with the guitarist of Sacrificer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So he lives near you, basically.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
gotcha. Sorry.
Well, the entire last record was recorded. Actually, the last two records, I'm pretty sure, were recorded with Taylor on vocals. So.
Okay.
I think that's so sick.
Yeah.
Especially with coronavirus and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, and with Featured X, I feel like a lot of people are going to be starting bands with people they just meet online and from in different states, and that's the new vibe.
I think it's a great tool, especially for up and coming bands.
Definitely.
For sure. Yeah.
I also wanted to touch on the trap deathcore song that you were featured on. You know what I'm talking about.
I think I know the one.
Dude, that the lyrics on that shit was so funny.
Yeah.
Wait, dude, I gotta look this shit up real quick.
He's a nice guy.
Wait, I declare Jamie Hanks. Do you know what the song's called, To Save Me the Time?
Even if he did, he ain't saying it.
No.
Fuck.
I can't even. I know the lyrics were like
feature Jimmy Hanks.
Missile drop something. Missile drop motherfuckers or something like that.
Yes. Oh my god. So for the viewers listening, you have to listen to this shit. If you love I Declare War and love how fucking extreme their lyrics are and shit like that, like this shit goes off.
Yeah.
Are you into any of the trap stuff? Like, how'd you get involved with that? Was that a Featured X?
Yeah, it was a Featured X thing, and I was like, I mean, he presented it pretty well. He also has a fairly decent sized following on social media. So I was just like, yeah, fuck it, man. It's, exposure is exposure. As long as it's not like horrible.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, there's a good chance that I'll probably at least like consider the idea, but this isn't something that I'd probably listen to. But at the same time, I figured it's different. I'll give it a shot. Fuck it.
Well, sometimes you gotta work out the muscles that you don't normally work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you gotta work out those trap muscles.
Hey, you can say you did it.
I've never heard trap death. Like I mean, I've listened to a lot of trap that incorporates like new metal and shit like that. But death metal, like that shit went fucking hard.
Yeah. I mean, Attila kind of does it, right? Isn't that kind of what they do?
They're like
Bone Crew or whatever.
Bone Crew does it, yeah, which is Franz from Attila, but Attila is like the outcast frat boys that went to Warped Tour, but they're also in a frat.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So like they went to Warped Tour in flip flops and a polo, but they still went in the pit. That's Attila. Well, that's what it started as. I don't know what the fuck they are now.
I feel like some people are gonna hate in the comment section for you saying that.
I fucking hate. I like Attila. I don't give a fuck. I've liked them before. I'll like them now. They had one or two records. Wasn't a fan, but hey, it is what it is.
They did a couple of records with this guy Stephen Hawk, who I recorded a lot of stuff with early on, and if you listen to those records, they sound fucking incredible. So, not necessarily the biggest fan of the music, but I cannot hate on the way that the production sounds on those records.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up right here. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. Do you want to plug anything away for the viewers watching or listening?
I am on Instagram, Jamie Hanks 666. Sacrificer is one of my bands. I Declare War is my main baby. Downcast EP, it came out last year, but it's barely a year old, so give that record a spin if you haven't listened to it. It's on all of the streaming platforms. Basically, all the music that I'm involved in is on all the streaming platforms, so definitely give something new a chance.
Hell yeah, man. Really appreciate you coming on the show and telling us your story, man.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So thanks for watching, guys. If you made it to the end of this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Hit that notification bell button.
And you'll get alerted as soon as the episode's posted. And thanks for watching to all the crowd rooms, guys.
Have a good one. Peace.